What's good, everybody? Welcome to Front Runner Podcast Collective, where we talk as friends, argue like cousins, and somehow still leave smarter. I am your humble host, Vince, and sometimes I am your occasional therapist, your favorite bad influence. And we here at Front Runner Podcast Collective, we unpack the wins, the mess, and the middle ground with jokes, receipts, and maybe a hot take that ages badly. I am not alone. I am with Soraya. Soraya is our silent assassin producer who will be dropping notes, reminders, and the occasional gem to keep everybody honest and maybe make us better people in the process. So, we gotta get into this thing. But before we do, I want to commend all of the audience members of this podcast. You guys are doing an excellent job. Looked at the numbers last night, and it's amazing the growth and how people continue to find us. We are growing not just domestically, we're also growing internationally. We are in Germany heavy, Argentina, Bolivia of all places. Obviously, United States of America blown up. Actually, the funny part about it is a city that does not have a basketball team has jumped up in the ranks. St. Louis, Missouri has jumped up in the ranks, and we have really put the pedal to the metal, and I couldn't be more humbled by the interest in our podcast and the way that people are receiving it. And if you are new here, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the fun, the frivolity, the information, the stats, and hopefully you will have a lot to talk about with your friends after you get done with this podcast. Now, also, another piece of information for everybody to know is that we have a blog that goes along with the podcast, and we've been trying to promote this, but I also want to make it easier on people for two reasons. One, if for some reason, and I am trying to get better at this, I want to speak more clearly and slower and more relaxed, but we have a blog that goes along with the pod. It is on frpc.beam, so BEAM.ly. And then you go to the blog section, and the first blog will accompany the latest podcast. That's how it works. That's how we do it. And usually there is a stat or two that does not end up in the podcast, or there is there's observations or what have you that did not end up in the podcast. So I would thoroughly suggest that you also get with the blog as well. It's a good read along piece with the podcast. So if you like homework, if you like to just stay abreast of what's going on with us, that's a good way of doing it. So I recommend that entirely. So what we're going to be talking about today, more Ja Morant news. I can't believe it that we're still talking about this. I have a segment that I am reintroducing, but we're going to do it monthly. Something that we talked about probably more in the summertime. Probably haven't talked. I know we talked about it on the preview pod in regards to Brooklyn, but I can't wait to talk about that. And then we're going to get into the Central Division. We're bringing back divisions and talking about the teams that are worthy of conversation and what they're doing lately and how they're looking. So we have a stacked pod today. So bear with us, and also get your coffee, get your snacks ready, because we are in for a ride. So let's start with the Ja Morant news. And basically, so Ja Morant is back from suspension. he had a press conference after the Detroit Pistons game, which was a loss. What I will say about that, it looks like he left his joy at TSA. So 2 weeks into the season, instead of highlight reels and we got a post-game subtweets and a coach named Thomas Iasolo trying to not blink into the camera. The box score reads for Ja Morant 18 points, 10 assists, and 5 rebounds, and you would sit there and go, you know what? That's a pretty good game for somebody bouncing back after a suspension. But it wasn't what happened on the court, and that's the funny part with Ja. It's never the thing that's on the court. It's never that thing where you sit there and you go, man, he has such an athletic profile, and he dunked on somebody, and he made somebody fall and break their ankles or whatever. It's all the stuff off the court. The body language that said, I'm here so I don't get fined, the interview at his locker. Soraya says this, Jason Jones of The Athletic had the piece, Ja came back from a 1-game suspension, was asked if things were resolved. He hit reporters with, yeah, they told you all that, right? He's not just playing without joy, he's playing without conviction. Here are the things that we need to know about Ja. And the reason why I say this is you're going to probably hear a little bit of frustration in my voice, and I'll get to it towards the end. But let me just read you off some numbers. This is Ja right now. Field goal percentage, 39.3%. 3-point percentage, field goal percentage, right? 13.9%. His assist rate, still elite at 40.3%. His true shooting percentage is barely over 50%. That's a drop from last year to 56%. The Memphis Grizzlies right now are 3-5. They're 25th in net rating, 24th both in offense and defense. They're not a good team right now. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Now, you can discuss the injuries, and we will. You know, I want to make sure that we have a panoramic picture of what's going on in Memphis. Brandon Clark is out with a knee. Zach Edey is out with an ankle. Ty Jerome is out with a bad calf strain. And Scottie Pippen Jr. is out with a toe. So Ja's isolation bursts have turned into half-court traffic jams. The lane is absolutely clogged. And because nobody respects his jumper, this is where we are. And we'll get to that point. I mean, we already talked about him shooting 13.9% from 3. That's kind of a telltale sign of what is actually going on. I'm going to say this because, like I said, there is some frustration, and I want to make sure that I say this, and I'm not trying to throw shade at Ja, because I actually really like Ja. I like the way he plays because he reminds me so much of a player that we all respect, and that's Allen Iverson. So I'm just going to say this. Playing with swag is not the same as, and for a while, Ja was the league's avatar of joy. That bounce, that grin, that I'm next. He was Iverson without the cornrows energy for sure. But lately, that smile has looked taxed. We live in a meme culture, and everybody is chasing that viral moment. And I thought Ja would be the one cat too original to copy. But there he was quoting Jimmy Butler, old escape line from Miami. Think about that. We just did this with Jimmy Butler. Trying to sound deep, sounding instead like a rerun. This isn't about hate. This is more about return on investment. Memphis gave him the keys to the kingdom. The commercials came. The shoe deal from Nike still stood after his gun situation with the league. And the soundtrack. Now it's time for Ja to give. Try to give something back to Memphis. Discipline, leadership, hell, just some consistent joy. You're the leader of the team, my guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're the leader. Yes, I understand that you got a lot of soldiers down at this point in time, but that's when the leader must step up and look at his troops and go, hey, no matter what, no matter how tough it gets, I'm here with you, and we're gonna go down fighting, and we're gonna stay in the fight. And that's period in the story. And I wanna mention something after this, after we get done talking about Ja. Stat wise, again, the red flags aren't subtle. The 3-point shooting is absolutely abysmal. He's never been a really good 3-point shooter, but it's now hit a level where, and listen, he's going to shoot better than this. He's not 13.9 type of dude. Now, is he a low 30s type of guy? For sure. But he is not a 13.9 3-point shooter. That is for like the old school power forwards that used to roam the land in the NBA. The team is flat out sitting in the paint. His pick and roll frequency at 54% is the actual fine. You know, you got to find partners, willing partners to do that with. Jaren Jackson Jr. isn't the pick and roll type of guy. He is a pick and pop type of guy. He's also, let me go ahead and be a second side initiator. Let me attack the defense that way. And now you stretch that corner, everything collapses. Now compare this to Josh Giddey, who went into the lab and came out shooting 35% from 3. That's growth. You know, that's what you want from your leader. Josh still trying to dunk his way out of a scheme. And it's all well and good when you had Desmond Bain. It's all well and good when you had all the shooters around you and you had the backup guard in Tyus Jones, who used to be the best backup point guard in the league, but you don't have that anymore. And you got a lot of, like I said, you got a lot of troops down right now. So they need you. Let me say what Memphis won't. They're nervous because once the franchise starts answering relationship questions in November, you're already flirting with a trade rumor season. Zach Kleiman built this team around Ja, and now he has nothing but disruption and chaos and unwanted eyes on his team. The Grizzlies' offensive rating of 113.1 and their defensive rating of 117.8 tell you all of what you need to know about the vibes in Memphis right now. The mismatch, the mid, the meandering. If they don't fix it soon, you'll start hearing fake serious trade packages on ESPN with future flexibility in the headline. And that would be tragic because the Ja Jackson window was real. Triple J is trying to be the grown-up in the room. You don't have Marcus Smart to kind of quell whatever else is going on in the room. He's a Laker. And that's going to bring me to my point momentarily. And this group looks like a project waiting to happen, looking for a leader to show up. And then you got the Memphis fans. They still ride for Ja. But loyalty is a two-way street. And that's the one thing that I want to kind of get to Ja, is that it is a two-way street. And when he said maybe I shouldn't even have been on the floor after the Laker game, that wasn't leadership. That was a live mic therapy session. Look, I've been saying this for a minute. You can't talk about getting your joy back when you never worked on your game. And I want to say that in the most respectful way possible. His outside shooting has been an issue not just for this year. It's been an issue for 4 years. Because, you know, the first couple years you kind of sit there and you go, hey, he's a young guy. He's going to try to figure it out. And as he gets stronger and as he starts to understand, you know, the NBA three-point line, he will find his spots on the court. He'll start nailing these shots. Well, we're now in year like 6. Okay? And remember, he was the number 2 overall pick in the 2019 draft. It's just not happening. You want the lane to be unclogged? Hit threes. You want your coach to stop over-managing you? Hit 38% from deep. The joy comes when defenses can't game plan for you out of the gym. And let's not act like it's all tragedy. This dude is still 20.4 points a game. He's still 7.1 assists a game. He has a PER that is 16.5. Even in this whatever you want to call this morose funk that he's in, this can still be fixed. But not until he stops thinking the answers are in the post-game quotes instead of in the off-season and in practice grind. If this dude wants to get better, this dude wants to go ahead and be the star that we all know that he can be, because he's electrified us. He has made our jaws drop. He has brought us to social media and said, yo, did you see what Ja just did? Did you see him cock it back behind his head and dunk over that 7'3" ogre? He has been a fearless warrior for a long period of time. But now, whatever that warrior mentality was has seemed to left him, and he is struggling to get it back. And until he looks inward, this is where Memphis is going to be. Memphis has built their identity on grit and grind. Then they upgraded to grit and glide. Right now, they got neither. If Ja is to blend those and find the balance between flair and floor balance, the Grizzlies can climb back into the Western Conference mix. But, and this is a real but, this is a legitimate but, you got to keep your emotions and you got to dictate your efficiency. Oklahoma City ain't going to come back to the pack. Okay? They're not. What they're going to do, if you don't get this together, is they're going to lap you twice before All-Star Weekend. So here's my challenge to Ja. Get your joy back through work, not through words. The league has already moved past the highlight reel. Now it's about leadership, longevity, and hitting a damn corner three. Appreciate the people out loud. And remember, the loudest thing you can say in the league is winning. This all goes away if you start winning, dude. We are not sitting here critiquing Ja Morant for his ability. We're critiquing Ja Morant for his work ethic and what he has known to need improvement on for multiple years and still has not done it. When you look at some of the greats, when you look at some of these guys who have made leaps and whatever the case may be, you know, we just did a whole thing on like Austin Reeves and who and what he is. And listen, Ja Morant is way more talented than Austin Reeves. Let me get that straight right away. But who's a better player right now? Who would you take on your team right now? You'd probably take Austin Reeves. And that's the thing that I want to get to before we close this Memphis thing out. So you want to talk about leadership? We want to talk about winning? You want to talk about getting things done? The Lakers went into Portland last night. And we're not going to talk a lot about the Lakers because I know everybody's sitting there like, Vince, dude, we get it. You're a Laker fan. But they went into Portland last night. No Luka. Still LeBron not playing. And Austin Reeves sat on the bench. Marcus Smart, DeAndre Ayton, Rui Hachimura, and Nick Smith Jr. led the Lakers to a win in Portland, 123-115. And this isn't your brother's Portland Trailblazers. This Trailblazers team has some fight and some bite in them. They just knocked off the Denver Nuggets the other night as well. So, and they also beat the Lakers like a week ago. And they've been playing 94 feet of defense and everything like that. So to go into Portland and win a game shows the type of grit and the type of toughness that you hope that the Memphis Grizzlies would show with Ja Morant. So that's it about Memphis and Ja. So we're going to move on to something that I want to do monthly. And the reason that this is something that I've been following for a while. It's my own little curiosity in this situation. So you got to indulge me a little bit. So Brooklyn, who's not a good team, right? We know that they're basically tanking for their pick. They have a nice little situation going on right now, which I want to kind of get to. Brooklyn's offense, it's not basketball. It's dodgeball with sneakers. You got Cam Thomas out here, and you got Michael Porter Jr., and they're launching like the rim owes them money. Soraya says in the chat, if you can dodge a pass, you can dodge accountability. So if you haven't been like really locked into Brooklyn Nets basketball, let me kind of give you like the Reader Digest version of what's going on over there. You got Cam Thomas, who is on a restricted 1-year free agency contract that I think is for $8.6 million. They couldn't come to any type of agreement of what his actual worth was during the offseason. So he signed a 1-year deal, which basically locks him into a no-trade situation with the Brooklyn Nets, so they can't get anything for him, and there's a good chance that he's going to walk at the end of the year. So why is that important? 2 reasons. One, we all know what Cam Thomas has been since he got into the league. Cam Thomas is an absolute bucket. That is what he is. One of the things that was brought up during his draft process and people scouting him was that his inability or his lack of want to pass the ball. He's not looking for his teammates. He's looking for his shot. It has held true in his time in the league. He is a shooter. That's what he does. Now, last year he averaged 24 points a game. But if you look at his assist percentages and things of that nature, his usage, it goes back to the original scouting report on Cam Thomas. Hey, I am going to shoot the ball. You put other people on the court who have playmaking ability and can initialize the offense for the others. But what I do is score the basketball. Also, what happened in the offseason for the Brooklyn Nets? They traded Cam Johnson, so the other Cam, right? So they had Cam Thomas and Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson goes to the Denver Nuggets, and Brooklyn receives Michael Porter Jr. Now, Michael Porter Jr. also, when he came into the league, was I'm all shot, no offensive initiation type of dude. I am looking to get my shots up. And there was a time where we thought that Michael Porter Jr. would kind of implode the Nuggets because Michael Malone, who is now the ex-coach of the Denver Nuggets, his first couple years with Michael Porter Jr., I mean, he was trying to really relay to him that, hey, just so you know, everything flows through Jokic. I mean, I know that sounds funny now because he's a 3-time MVP. But our guy, Michael Porter Jr., has been in the league like 6-7 years now, right? Even though he's still so young. So you have a guy who, until they start basically really winning and getting that this is a serious team, like competitive as far as a Western Conference Finals, an NBA Finals type of team, there was legit thought in Michael Porter Jr.'s head that we would be better off if I was the number 1 option. Okay? So, that's the picture. Now, Michael Porter Jr. is in Brooklyn with our guy, Cam Thomas. So, you know what's going to happen, right? You got Cam Thomas wanting to prove that he's more than a microwave scorer. You got Michael Porter Jr. fighting to prove that he's not just a Jokic sidekick. And then you got the front office quietly betting on chaos and disruption as a developmental tool. Soraya says, it's not a system, it's a shootout in disguise. She is right on that. So, who is going to take the most shots? Okay, so here's the tale of the tape. Our guy Cam Thomas right now is averaging 31 minutes, and he's averaging 17.7 shots a game. Okay? 24.3 points a night. Michael Porter Jr., 32 minutes, 18 shots a night. He's averaging 20.8 points a game, cleaner percentages, efficient, yes, cooperative, never met her. Brooklyn runs ISO like it's a tax deduction. It's like 2 actors fighting over the same close-up. Cam's auditioning for future buckets, and Michael Porter Jr. is auditioning for redemption. The script is good, the direction is non-existent. And then the core rookies. So Brooklyn drafted 5 rookies. Baron Seraph, Egor Denham, Danny Wolf, Drake Powell, and I'm trying to remember the last one. here's the deal. Let me get that up while I try to figure this out. If you talked about all those guys and you said, hey, what do those guys do? Well, most of those guys that are on the Nets that were drafted, Nolan Traore. Okay, so now we got that set. So Nolan Traore, Igor Denim, Danny Wolf, Drake Powell, they're all here. Ben Seraph, right? They're all here to provide offensive initiation. That was they all kind of registered as connectors in the draft process, in the scouting process. What they were going to have to develop is, okay, where's their offense coming from? How do they get into, their own bag and whatever the case may be to develop their whatever their offensive prowess is going to be. Well, that is all suspended right now. That is for next year. Because this year, I don't know how they're going to get the ball. I wonder how many times those guys wake up in a cold sweat hearing Cam Thomas clap for the ball and Michael Porter Jr. going, hey, I'm here, open. Just wonder about that whole situation. This isn't a rebuild. It's an internal power struggle. The front office development, locker room, here's rotation, auditions. It's not rebuilding. It's a resume building situation. Cam's minutes are a statement. MPJ's minutes are insurance. The rookies are graded on compliance right now, and it just boggles my mind. It just boggles it for sure. So let's get more into this. Oh, so Cam's usage right now is 32%. That's kind of where it's been. His effective field goal percentage is .480. Michael Porter Jr.'s now, and this is actually high, 27% usage. His effective field goal percentage is 54.2%. They combine for 18 as far as assist percentage, 18. That is not synergy, that's solo cues. Efficiency without trust is just cardio with better optics. When these two stars pass less than your backup center, that's not ball movement, that's a polite warfare that is going on between those two. So again, we got numbers to back this up. This is something that I've been tracking all year. This is something that I'm going to continue to track for you. It is the war going on inside Brooklyn. And sometimes you talk about Brooklyn just being a hard place or whatever case may be. Brooklyn, inside that arena is where the warfare is going on. I don't even know what to say anymore. If you remember the dodgeball ending where your average Joe's wins by being themselves, right now Brooklyn is trying to be both Joe's and global Jim. Every rebuild starts with humble. Egos by the purple uniforms, you know what I'm saying? I understand where Cam is coming from. He didn't get paid, so now he has to make sure that he can go ahead and get these shots up. And I understand that Michael Porter Jr. is looking for validation, but you got to think about the kids. You got to think about the kids that are not getting developed because you guys are in this in this shot war that you guys are in. Like Soraya said, call it a dramedy of usage. And the punchline is the box score. Well said. So, Nets fans, what do you want more? Growth or entertainment? Chaos or chemistry or disruption? I don't know. Personally, I've been checking on this all year. The shot charts are amazing. I love it. And I can't wait till next month to see where we are. Now, let's get to what else is going on in the league. We are going to transition to the Central Division. And the reason why we're doing this is because it's something that we did last year. We would take a division, we look at it, we take a snapshot, tell you where all the teams were, tell you what the front office were thinking. We tried to give you the biggest story of what was going on within every team as we did this snapshot. We are going to do it again, and we are going to start in the Windy City. We are going to start in Chicago, Illinois. And I want to say this right now. This is not the baby Bulls, nor is it the D Rose and this is not D Rose and Joakim. This is not even the Zach LaVine era. It is 2025. And the Bulls opened up 5-0 for the first time since the Jordan days. Then they took a split in MSG to sit 5-1. Isn't a star worship, it's a system. Running, cutting, everybody eats. They had a 37-point second quarter. We got 8 threes, 1 turnover. This is not luck. The tempo is being set with a syllabus. Josh Giddey is out here. The secret is simple: confidence, belonging, and trust. Chicago plays plays the half-court offense. It's just transition with paperwork. They don't bully you. They erase you in 3 possessions. And when the New York Knicks punched back with 20 made threes, the Bulls answered with pace, depth, and even 7 turnovers total in a game. We're not crowning anyone after 6 games for sure, okay? But we're clocking the identity of the Bulls. The United Center finally has a game plan that sells out on both ends of the court, even if the defense is still filing for an upgrade. They're running you into decisions. It's not just layups. Let's talk about some of the particulars. Josh Giddey, right, got his contract. He says, I got my contract. It's off my back. I'm wanted. I'm happy. He also has role clarity. His count stats prove it. If it holds up, rating spike for show. But credit to Arturas Karnisovas. Credit to the type of team that he wanted to build. Because here's the thing. He made some tough decisions over the last couple of years. And what I mean by that is that he gave up Zach LaVine for almost nothing. And you could sit there and go, well, why did he do that and whatever. And then a couple years back, actually, DeMar DeRozan was also let go, went to Sacramento. They also traded Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey. And at the time, I was so bent out of shape about them not getting a first-round pick back from OKC. I still, to this day, don't understand that part of it. But the proof is in the pudding at this point. You can talk to me about, this team has been middling for a long period of time. And I'm not telling you that this 5-1 start is the start of something super special in Chicago. Hell, they might end up right around 500 or whatever the case may be again. But the thing that you have to respect is that you knew you weren't going anywhere with Zach LaVine on the team. And we'll get into that a little bit later. And they made room for the young guys to be able to develop at a rate and also get more ownership of the team. And Billy Donovan, who's the head coach, finally has a squad that he could really kind of meld into what he really wants to see out there. So he has a vision for what they are trying to do. And with that vision comes, right now, success. So the bench is averaging 49 points per game. Now, we do not know, and we do not think that is going to continue. But that is a huge number if your bench is averaging 49 points a game. Kobe White is hurt right now. Ayu Dosunmu has an illness. Their status right now is up in the air. But keep in mind, Giddey is getting it done. And his usage to assist versus win percentage, bench net rating, all good. The starting 5 right now is Giddey, Trey Jones, Okoro, who they got in the Lonzo Ball deal, Buzelis, who we love, and Nikola Vucevic, Vucci Main, doing his thing. The unit is slightly negative on the season. Scoring comes from the bench, avalanches, staggered lineups, and what have you. In the signature Knicks game, they answered OG Anunoby's fifth three with a 13-3 run. They had Ayu DeSumo running downhill. Giddey's orchestration and Vuce paint and pop combination just bewildered the Knicks. They had 72 turnovers through the first four. 7 versus the Knicks. And just 2 in the first half. That's a maturation process that's going on warp speed. And you will say, well, okay, what are some of the numbers, Vince? You're telling me a lot, but you're not telling me everything. Giddey right now is averaging 22.2 points a game. He's averaging 9.2 rebounds and 8.7 assists. He's shooting 40.7% from behind the 3-point line. This is where we're talking about. Now remember, Josh Giddey at OKC, he could not hit a 3-pointer to save his life. One of the reasons why OKC was cool on moving on from him was like, hey, we need somebody who can play better defense, and we need somebody who can knock down a 3. We just talked about Ja Morant. We just talked about his developmental arc and his inability to knock down a 3. Josh Giddey saw that people were just backing up off of him, so he couldn't get into the paint because the lane was clogged because he was in there. And now he's shooting 40.7% from 3. That's just letting you know. Complete ownership of the offense, 100%. Now, Vooch. Now, this is the greatest thing. I love this because he's been maligned since he got to Chicago. He's averaging 19.3 points a game. His true shooting percentage is 70.3%. And he's getting 2.3 three-pointers made every game. So he's a floor spacing anchor. The old man strength is right there. He looks young again. It's all working out. Trey Jones is shooting 60% from 3, albeit low volume, albeit early. His true shooting percentage is 63.3%. What we like about Trey Jones is just like his brother Tyus, he is connective tissue. He's a table setter. He's not a big, I got to get my shots. I got to get my 20 up or I'm not happy. Now, the critical piece to this is the leap that Malaise Buzelis has taken. You started to see it towards the end of the year, and sometimes you're always weary about the end of the year because you don't know if it's teams that are tanking and they're just allowing this dude to get off. You don't know if it was like teams low managing, resting people, getting ready for the playoffs or whatever the case may be. It's real tricky to look at that March and go, hey, this dude is eating and he's eating good. But he has proved it and backed it up with numbers like this. So Buzelis right now is averaging 15.7 points a game. He's also shooting 41.4% from the land of 3. He is a plug-and-play wing with a quick trigger. He also will dunk on you. He also has like a junkyard dog mentality on the defensive end. He likes to block shots. He likes to be in the mix when it comes to like deflections and steals. And he's just nasty. And I love the way he plays and he talks trash. So, all good things from me. And here's the thing that I also am really enamored with Chicago. Kevin Huerter, who was in Sacramento, and for some reason, he just kind of fell apart. I don't know if it was confidence. I don't know if he was just injured and he just couldn't get right. But he's averaging a respectable 13 points a game. He also has a true shooting percentage of 65.1%. Liberated secondary creator. It's all the stuff that you saw in Atlanta and you thought, man, now he's going to be able to supercharge this with De'Aaron Fox in Sacramento. And it just never materialized, and now that whole backcourt is gone, and they got Chicago Bulls West out there, or old regime Chicago Bulls West out there. Oh, we're also getting some contributions from Patrick Williams. Now, if you listen to the show for any amount of time, I'm not the biggest Patrick Williams fan at all, but plus 13 in 23 minutes at New York. He's a shape-shifting defender. He's selective on the threes. He's shooting it at a 44% clip right now, which I never thought he'd get to, but obviously that's on very low volume, so you got to take that with a grain of salt. But you're getting something from Patrick Williams, and I will take something compared to nothing. Because I honestly, tell you the truth, I was hoping for Buzelis to make a leap, and then we could get out of the Patrick Williams business altogether. But, he's showing himself to be quite useful right now. The leadership and culture of this team right now is run together, rest together. Donovan's template of 14-second summer clock, conditioning, and decision speed is kind of the key ingredients of what is actually going on in Chicago right now. We knew who we had to be weeks before camp. Never seen a team this dramatically dynamic without a clear number one. They're getting it done. Giddey's quote screams psychological safety, risk tolerance, daring passes, and also having a guy like Okoro step into a role which is he's a low usage stopper. His defensive block plus minus is ugly early, but assignment values free shooters. I'm trying to tell you, he gets the worst assignments and he handles them very well. And all you're asking for him to do is like, hey, listen, all I need you to do is make him less efficient than he normally is. Now, again, we've talked about Bulls and thinking like, okay, this is fun, right? When you have a team profile like this where your offensive rating is 120 even, which is 5th in the league, and their defensive rating is 114.8, which is 14th in the league, okay? It's okay. It's not great, but it's not terrible. Their net rating is positive 5.3, which is 7th in the league, and their pace is 101.4, which is also kind of middle of the road in the league. What you're seeing is development. What you're seeing is that, okay, Malaise Buzelis has made a leap. Josh Giddey is shooting the three ball with a consistency and also with the level of like, okay, you're going to have to respect my three ball now. And that is very important. It's the thing that is going to unlock his drives, which also then unlocks the shooters. Because if he gets into the lane and then he's spraying the ball out to the 3 line, and then you have a swing, you're going to get a wide open shot. It's something that we always talk about here on Front Runner Podcast Collective. And I'm going to say it for the first time, probably first time all year in the new season. When you share the sugar, it's always good. That's what it is. So I'm big on what Chicago's doing. I'm big on the development that they have had with this team. Say what you want about Arturas Karnisovas. He has stood pat and provided developmental continuity. There's a chance to upgrade the wing situation mid-season. You're also getting back Kobe White. You're also going to, Ayu Dosunmu has an illness, so, that's a unfortunate situation. Buzelis, this leap is real. We're good. But again, it's a hot start. Opponents' 3-point shooting is cold. The Knicks nuke themselves. You know what I'm saying? And we still are looking for a number one option in Chicago. Now, I don't know if that comes via trade. I don't know if that comes via free agency. I don't know if that comes if we put 3 or 4 pieces together and we go out and get one. All of what you're doing right now is you're building for the future. You're building for what this iteration of the Bulls is. You're building a culture, but you're also building a standard. And like the famous words of Mike Tomlin, the Pittsburgh Steelers coach, the standard is the standard. Well, damn it, we've been asking for some sort of proof of life out of Chicago for years. And let me tell you something. With a 5-1 record, with a net rating of plus 5.3, which is 7th in the NBA, you got Giddey out here almost averaging a triple-double. You got old man Vucevic almost averaging 20 points a game, and his true shooting percentage is 70%. And then you got the leak from Buzelis. These are all things that lead to proof of life. This is what Chicago has wanted. I am glad for the fans of the Chicago Bulls, because guess what? Man, it has been a long time coming. The Bulls aren't pretending to be something they're not. They're a sprint team with a passing habit and a point guard who has found his voice. The East will punch back eventually. The variance will swing, but pace, purpose, and shared oxygen travel. If Giddey keeps blending confidence with command, and Vooch keeps bending spaces, and if the kids keep making the next read, Chicago doesn't need to get a savior. It needs legs and discipline. 5-1 doesn't crown you. It invites you, and it invites the Chicago fans to get excited. So, November joy is rented. January habits are owned, and I believe in that. The Bulls aren't getting lucky. They just got organized. And again, you finally see a true standard. You see a true vision, and I love it. Speaking of vision, did anybody see the Bucks game last night? Anybody see this? Now, the Milwaukee Bucks are 5-2 with a top 5 offense and a defense still trying to find its shoes. But Giannis Antetokounmpo is still out there, and he is causing havoc wherever he goes. He's averaging comic book numbers and hitting 16-foot game winners in Indy and sending those people home unhappy. Rollins goes from who to two-way engine with 14 steals in 6 games, and Miles Turner, in his return to Indianapolis, was booed unapologetically. They was pissed at Miles Turner, where his jersey is still like hangs in some of the wing spots out there. It's just business, bro. It's just business. Different when the crowd makes it personal, though. The Bucks have lineups that hum, lineups that leak, and a coach in Doc Rivers willing to have an A/B test in public. So what you saw last night with the with the Bucks, Bucks, same thing. Not really, you know what I'm saying. We just trying to deal with the Central. Let's talk a little bit about what we're seeing right now. Okay, now Kevin Porter Jr. has been out for a while. He's had an ankle injury, and we'll see what happens when he comes back. I'm not saying he's going to get Wally pipped in this situation, but Ryan Rollins is playing his ass off. 17 points a game, hitting 53.6% of his field goals. He's shooting 41% from 3, and he's 5.7 assists per game with 14 steals in 6 games. So he's averaging basically 2.3 steals a game. AJ Green is out here shooting 51% from 3 on 6.7 attempts. I want to understand this. How is this even possible? This dude is shooting 51% from 3 on 6.7 attempts. Now, I understand. You can tell me all day long, Vince, stop tripping. It's 6 games, my guy. Why are you getting so excited? Well, remember, the whole thing with Giannis and whether he was staying, going, whether he liked Milwaukee, is he's never not liked Milwaukee. He won a championship there. He's spent his whole adult life in Milwaukee. He's been loyal to the soil since he got there. And yeah, has he flirted with other situations? 100%. But he is a primetime type of player. But to see development like this from AJ Green, who's shooting 51% from 3, on almost 7 attempts, that's amazing. Yes, it's a very small sample size of what we're talking about, but this is what they have to do to win. And I'll tell you why that is in a second. Now, Turner's move to leave Indy after failed talks equaled boos and thumbs down when he came back. Now, I want to say this to the Indiana fans. I want to say this not in a like, hey, pointing the finger at you. I want to say this. I want y'all to remember that there was, up until last year, Miles Turner was on the trade block for 5 straight years. I heard Miles Turner named in 15 different trades in a 5-year period. Yes, some of those was to the Lakers. Okay, no doubt. But I've heard to other teams. I heard maybe, hey, we're going to Toronto. Hey, we might be going somewhere else. I've heard all kinds of stuff. I heard him going to Oklahoma City. There was so much going on with Miles Turner. So the Pacers shopped Miles Turner's for years. So the fans booing is therapy for them. But the front office might need to grab your ire. We might be looking at Miles Turner and going, hey, well, you left us. Okay. Well, you had your real estate agent had their number pinned to the top of your iPhone for years, waiting on this trade that never materialized, and then he goes to Milwaukee. We can sit here and go, oh, well, you shouldn't have went to Milwaukee, all this other, but guess what? He did. That's what he ended up doing. Hey, man, you got to do what you got to do. It's business. At the end of the day, it is business, and you need to take care of yourself. So what's going on with Milwaukee? They're 5-2. They have an offensive rating of 120.1, which is 4th in the league. Their defensive rating is 115.3, which is 16th in the league. That is absolutely kind of mind-boggling for a team that has Giannis Antetokounmpo and Miles Turner anchoring their back end. Okay, so that's a little wild to me. But their net rating is positive 4.8, which is right behind Chicago at 8th. Their pace is 102.2, which is probably the highest pace they've been in quite some time. Remember, this team has made a drastic facelift of their team. A couple years back, they had Drew Holiday, and they also were waiting for Chris Middleton to come back, and this team also had Brook Lopez. So you've gone from Brook Lopez, Chris Middleton, and Drew Holiday to a team with Ryan Rollins, who nobody knew, AJ Green, who they've been hoping to get better and better, and that's all he's done. He's just improved every single year. And they also have like Cole Anthony's of the world. They also have Gary Trent Jr.'s of the world. So it's a different team than what we remember the championship Milwaukee Bucks as. But it's about Giannis. It's all about Giannis. And this is where it gets really interesting. I told you about AJ Green's numbers. But then you got Gary Trent Jr., who's hitting 3 threes a game at 36.8%. You got Taurean Prince hitting 52.2% of his threes. It's a low volume, albeit, but if you're going to knock them down, timely is fantastic. And then you got Miles Turner in his Indy return. And you go, well, Miles Turner didn't have a great game. He had 5 blocks. Okay, I don't care how many points he scored. He had 5 blocks, my guy. Sending shit back left and right. No, you don't get a basket. You don't get a basket. You don't get a basket. It's a no-fly zone in the paint area. Because you got that pterodactyl, that's Giannis Antetokounmpo, and now you got Miles Turner, who is not 37-year-old Brook Lopez, who can move. He's not just a drop center. He can go out and meet you at the top of the hedge and then double back and get back on a pick and roll. So you gain athleticism. Kuzma is an efficient, which is amazing. His true shooting percentage this year is 62.2% in 22 minutes. Cole Anthony is averaging 11 points a game, 3 rebounds, 5.3 assists, and he is a pick and roll spark off the bench. And I'm telling you right now, it is team by committee, man. And then who's running the engine is Giannis Antetokounmpo. I want to read these numbers off, and I'm going to read them slowly for people because we talk about a lot about who's going to win the MVP and whatever the case may be. If Giannis Antetokounmpo is not in your top 5, I have no respect for you. 34 points a game. 13.3 rebounds a game. Oh, and by the way, 6.8 assists on a true shooting percentage of 70.5%. His usage is at a 35.4% situation. He's also has a assist percentage of 39.1. He is at a all-world engine for a team right now. So they decided, John Horst and Doc Rivers decided, hey, what we're going to do is we're going to let Giannis be the point guard. We're going to have like other ball handlers out there. They're going to be more second side initiators, right? And we're going to let Giannis come up the court with the basketball and make decisions. It's something that Jason Kidd wanted to do back in the day. They didn't do it. They just scrapped the experiment when Mike Budenholzer got there. And now they're back to it. And it's paying off dividends. And then you just put shooters all around this dude. And now you got the lane open. And now he can attack the rim. And as he's attacking the rim, and then the defenses converge on him, he's just kicking it out to wide open shooters. That's why you see some of these shooting percentages that we were talking about. AJ Green shooting 51% from the land of 3. So, yeah, it's different. It's not what we're used to in Milwaukee, but I'll put it this way. Their offense is like IKEA. There's some assembly, but every piece is labeled. You know what I'm saying? So, like, literally, Giannis knows exactly where he's going. There's quick decisions being made. It's so great. And then, think about this. The scariest thing, before the lane was clogged, now you got nobody in the lane. You're 5 out. Because Miles Turner, he's not shooting it as good as he usually does. He's shooting it right now at 34.2% from 3. But Giannis downhill, you got basically 4 dudes standing on the perimeter that you have to respect. You have to respect these dudes as they shooting it at these incredible levels. That means that Giannis is dunking on people. It's great. So where do we go from here? Okay. So we do have a red flag that we need to bring up. There is one lineup that's not working. In 75 minutes, the Rollins, Giannis, AJ Green, Gary Trent Jr., Miles Turner lineup is allowing 124.2 points per 100 possessions. That is not good. That is not good at all. Okay? That's a film session waiting to happen. We talked about their defensive rating being 16th overall. Teams hit the threes. Just listen, man. If you're shooting 40%, almost 41% from the land of three with 16 makes a game, offensive spacing is not going to be the issue. It's who is going to take charges from Giannis coming downhill. You still got Portis and his energy. You got Prince and his toughness and his defense positioning that he always does. Boards, low man rotations. You got a lot of things going on for you. And Turner's rim protection is elite right now. I don't know if he's just unlocked because he has Giannis also to help back him up. And maybe he's just, willing to go ahead and do that. Now we need to talk about Jon Horst. He made a real calculated decision this offseason. And it was something that I crushed him for. So, the one thing that we try to do on this podcast, and we take accountability when we're wrong, and I understand it's a small sample size. We're not saying like it's going to work completely like this the whole time. But right now, it is working. And we can only go off right now. Now, in a month, we'll have more data, and we'll be able to decide, hey, it's working to an extent. Is this going to be okay when we get to the playoffs? Or is this sustainable? We don't know. But the early returns are positive. So Jon Horst buys out Damian Lillard, knowing that you're not getting anything from Damian Lillard this year because of the late Achilles tear. And, take a drink if you have heard that particular injury and that particular terminology on this podcast so many times. We had a epidemic of Achilles tears last year. It was crazy. Still waiting for dudes to get back. So they buy out Damian Lillard to get Miles Turner. So Indiana, you can boo all you want, right? And they said, hey, we're going to put the ball in Giannis's hands. Jon Horst knew exactly what he was doing. I don't know if he knew that he was going to get this much productivity from what they had on the team, and then also the new contributors that they have, which is Cole Anthony and the, Ryan Rollins is a godsend right now. And then you have the capability of a developing AJ Green, who they love that kid. They absolutely love that kid. And now, you got this team that's playing really competitive basketball. They're 5-2. There's some fair questions that we can ask, right? It's 7 games, and they're shooting super hot. 53.6% field goal, 41.2 from 3, and 5 assists, 5.7 assists. This is Ryan Rollins' sample size so far. Plus the defensive playmaking, 14 steals. We talked about that. My whole thing is that you can sit here and say that number that we got to worry about is 124.2. And that's with Ryan Rollins in the starting lineup. Hey, you can work on the defense. It's not just him. There's other people on the team. There's other people in this rotation. So he might not be the leak. It might be coming from somewhere else. Now, here's the thing. Milwaukee doesn't have a lot of assets to fix these problems. So all of their development and all of their capability of getting better is all internal. There's not a way out where it's like, oh, we gonna go get whoever the wing du jour is, in the next coming months, as when the trade deadline comes or whatever the case may be. Your pieces that you have now, if you want to get rid of a young piece for an older piece or whatever, maybe that might be something that you can look into. If somebody's really desiring one of your young guys. Maybe there's a Kevin Porter Jr. situation, especially with the emergence of Ryan Rollins. I don't know. But there's no big acquisition that Milwaukee can do without trading the guy who's in line for an MVP. Okay? Let's get that straight. Let's understand where we are. So the Bucks right now, they feel like a band where a drummer is the MVP and the guitarist just found his tone. Mid-tour, Giannis is inevitable. The Ryan Rollins situation has been opportunistic, and Turner is weathering the part of the story where it's not about to get on the highlight reel, but it's so steady that you're just like, yeah, man, this is exactly what we need. Milwaukee's offense fits in a suitcase, and their defense just needs better packing. The Bulls fade, the film remains. If the Bucks fix the win on their health rules, the East gets a new problem. If not, we'll be back here talking about almost choose your plot, basically. Bucks fans, I have a question for you. Do you ride with Ryan Rollins, or when Kevin Porter Jr. comes back, does he get it back? Or is he the type of guy that you can go ahead and put on the bench? Now, here's the thing. Doc Rivers is going to do what Doc Rivers needs to do. That dude is cutthroat, and if he makes a decision. Now, here's the one thing I will say. Kevin Porter Jr. in his time in the league has been, let's just say, if he doesn't like how things are going or whatever, he can be problematic. I hope that his maturity, and he's kind of grown out of that, and he understands, hey, maybe I need to come off the bench and be a microwave scorer for the greater good, and he accepts that role. But I have no reason to take Ryan Rollins out of the starting lineup right now. If you're good with this or whatever, ride this out. That's just me. Now, I'm not coaching the basketball team, but from what I see, this is what I would do. Now, speaking of another team that is footloose and fancy free, let's talk about the Detroit Pistons. The Detroit Pistons are 5-2. They're top 5 in defense, and suddenly they're acting like a team that has been here before. They beat Memphis 114-106. This was interesting because you had just like the differencing in what, we talked about Morant earlier, but Cade's best tape of the season was not this game. It was a grown-up version of everything they've been hinting at. He scored 33 points. Okay? That's not the lead, but including 19 in the fourth quarter. Okay? And closed Ja Morant return night like a vet who doesn't flinch. Like, he just sat there and went like this. Hey, bro, I don't care about your return. I don't care if you're in the good graces of the Memphis fans. We go out to beat you. And I am going to make sure of it by closing you out. Turn off the lights in this place. If the early wins were about potential, this is about proof. Defend, pound the paint, make smart reads, trust your closer. Cade didn't just score, he controlled time. Detroit didn't match Memphis' emotion, they controlled it. They have 58 points in the paint to 30. So they were, and a plus 20 field goal differential. So think about that. They were almost doubled up on Memphis's paint points. That is ridiculous. They're playing playoff style basketball in November. The composure and the paint math are making a lot of sense right now. Let's look at kind of an overview of what the Detroit Pistons are looking like right now. We talked about their record being 5-2. Their offensive rating right now is 114.8. Their defensive rating is a 111.4. They have a point differential of positive 3.4. Their pace is 100.9%. K right now, 23.6 points a game, 9.6 assists a game, 5.6 rebounds. His true shooting percentage is a little bit lower than what you would want. It's at 53.4%. But here is the most winning situation stat that you want to see from your point guard. Do you know that in the last 2 games, Cade's assist to turnover ratio is 28-1? I want you to hear that again. Last 2 games, 28-1. He had 18 assists and 1 turnover versus Dallas. He had 10 assists and no turnovers versus Orlando. And he's doing this all without Jaden Ivey. Now, he is getting help. Jalen Duren has taken a leap. And this, I'm going to tell you right now, there's not a happier dude on... hold on. Let me take this back. I know the Detroit fans out there, y'all super happy about this. But if you've been with us for any amount of time, if you've been rocking with us, y'all know last summer I was beating the drum of I don't understand why James Wiseman is here. And I know he's gone now, but we going back. I was talking about why is Marvin Bagley here? I don't understand all these. Now, this was all Troy Reaver's situation. And Troy Reaver he's been doing some crazy stuff in New Orleans. But Jalen Duren averaging 17.3 points a game and 9.9 rebounds a game with a true shooting percentage of 60.9 is crazy. Duncan Robinson out here shooting 39.1% from 3. B. Stu not taking a bunch of threes, but shooting 40% from 3. This is all great. It's all fantastic. The real deal is this. Is that K's performance of the 23.6 points a game and the 9.6 assists a game is legendary for him. And his usage rate is 28.9. He has an assist percentage of 41.7. It's all not just turning around, but it's all coming to fruition now. It's like he made the leap last year. You knew he was going to be a leader. You knew he was going to be special. Remember the talks about how it's Jalen Green or Cade Cunningham, and there were camps about, oh, Jalen Green is nice. He way nicer than Cade. And Cade went through that year when they won 14 games. They were 14-68. And people was out here whispering about Cade's leadership and all this other stuff. I never gave up on Cade. I always thought he was going to be special. I did not. I was suspect on Jalen Green. And listen, kid could turn out to be a really good player. But as far as special, and I'm talking about special, control the game special, dictate tempo, get people into right positions, and when you need to take over the game and do what you need to do to win, Cade Cunningham was always that guy. He was always going to be that guy, and I never fluctuated on who I thought was better. It was always Cade Cunningham. Give me the overall talent. Give me the guy who seems cerebral, the guy who jumps out the building, and he's going to use his athleticism to the nth degree. That's great. Sports Center highlights all around. Cade Cunningham's going to win you games. Now, the rotation equity that's going on in Detroit is very admirable. Like I said, having B. Stu come off the bench and then be able to provide that too big viability and everything, because Duren is not going to ever shoot a 3. Okay? He's the cleanest vertical partner that Cade has. Now, they won a game with Memphis having 3 rotational players out. Detroit still got bench output. Check this out. 14 points from Ron Holland II. You got 26 and 14 from Beef Stew. So even when everything isn't sweet, they can get it done. And I'm gonna say this one. This is Cade Cunningham's last 3 games. Orlando, 30 points, 10 assists, 6 rebounds, 3 steals, 3 blocks, no turnovers. Then against Dallas, 18 assists, 1 turnover. And then against Memphis, 33 points, 19 of those bad boys in the fourth quarter, closing the team out. He was 12 of 20 from the field, 3 of 6 from three-point land, 4 of 4 from the free throw lines, and he did this with 5 fouls. You want you want more light shed on this topic? Okay, so this is Cade's closing map. 2:48 left to go in the game. He hits 2 free throws. The score is 105 to 100. 2:25 left to go in the game. Straight line layup, 107 100. 1 minute and 6 seconds to go. 15-foot fadeaway, 109 to 103, Detroit. Now, 38.3 seconds. Let me go ahead and pull out this dagger, right? Pull up 25-footer, 112, 103. We go home. Shut the lights off. Less pick and roll clutter. More isolation at the elbow because he's so big. He's seeing single coverage instead of crowds. Having Duncan Robinson there is also very clutch. He keeps the weak side nail honest. Cade could go ahead and skip to Javonte Green, who was 5 of 12 from three-point land. And the corners like Asar are open up the map. Duran's shooting 5.3 free throw attempts a game, and he's shooting 86% from free throw line. That's fantastic. His vertical space and his glass tempo, these are all important factors of his game. And then when you can bring off like Isaiah Stewart, now he's not going to have a game like this every single time, but 26 points and 14 rebounds when you need it, and he can he can be a switch defender, and then he can also be rim insurance and a combo with that with that rare size with Duran, who is a pogo stick on legs. You gotta love it. And then when you got Asar Thompson is steadily making that ascent. Is he where Amen is? No, but 13.3 points a game, almost 7 rebounds a game, 6.9. He averages 1.6 steals a game, and his off-ball cuts are crispy. His deflections are just disruptive, just daggers to people. He's just inflicting nothing but paper cuts to your offense when you're sitting out there just trying to run normal offense. And then you got Ron Holland, who's averaging 10.6 points a game this season. He had a fishing 14 in 20 minutes against Memphis. So everything's on the up and up. And this is still without Jay Ivey. Jay Ivey. Cade's fourth quarter versus Memphis is a case study in calm authority. He had 5 fouls late, but he lost no composure. He was like, I'm not going to foul out. I'm going to read the floor. Found rim touches, and he didn't waste any motion. Because here's the thing. Cade Cunningham is that dude. We saw it in the playoffs last year, and I just think we're just going to see just more incremental growth from him throughout this season. Detroit ignored the emotional noise. They got the double tech in the second quarter with Triple J out there. And Bickerstaff, who left Cleveland, right? Remember? He left Cleveland and people were like, damn. And then Kenny Atkinson went in there and won 64 games. They were like, whoo. But Bickerstaff should be lauded for what he has done with Detroit, because Detroit had terrible seasons And then they really found themselves last year. He said Big South wanted more isolation windows, not traffic, is a leadership mantra in disguise. He has really transformed that team and basically said, hey, this is what's possible for you guys. And I don't want you guys to settle. And to instill that kind of confidence in a young team. Remember, this team was coming off Monty Williams. So having somebody like J.B. Bickerstaff on this team and coaching it and leading this team towards, they had a playoff run last year. They had a really competitive series with the Knicks, right? Was it Knicks? I think it was Knicks. It was somebody. But they went out there, put boots to asses to people, and really gave people a scare. So now, where are we at with this team? Well, the offense right now is not great. They're winning with smoke and mirrors. 114.8 is 18th in the league. But that defensive rating of 111.4, that's 4th. Defense travels while the offense matures. And keep in mind, they do not have Jay Nivey. Jay Nivey is that kind of missing piece. We hope that he has developed the shot. I hope what we saw last year in a small sample size before he got hurt is what we were going to see all throughout this year. So we'll see how that all goes. When Ivy returns, we hope that we're going to get some vertical juice. We hope that we have continued development of Ron Holland and Ausar Thompson. And you can sit here and talk about it's early, sample size, whatever. You can talk about all these things. The one thing that we don't have to worry about with them is that what we saw in the playoffs was real. And now this team has said, okay, now we can take the next step. And when you have a leader like Cade and you have a steadying hand like J.B. Bickerstaff, who's allowing these kids to grow up right in front of our eyes, you got to love everything that's going on in Detroit. Detroit didn't just steal a road win. They authored an identity. The Pistons are a top 5 defensive team with a lead guard who knows how to control a pace like a surgeon. He's not just a showman. Cage November isn't flash, but it's all about getting the job done, picking his spots, playing through foul trouble, and closing out like a G, like an all-star, like an all-NBA player. This version of Cage shows up 3 nights a week, and the standings will shift on their own. November's habits lead to April receipts. I am telling you, I have a lot of faith in this team. Now, for a team that we got some questions about, we go to Cleveland. Now, Cleveland is learning how to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Last year, Cleveland had a house party. They were 15-0, best offense in the league. Everybody was eating. And now it's 7 games, and they're 4-3. And the vibes are, wait, who brought the hummus? No Garland so far. No Strus. Allen has missed time. And even Donovan Mitchell is playing through a sore hamstring. They're not bad. They're weird on purpose. Kenny Atkinson's group is learning to win ugly, left-handed, as one writer put it. Mobley's handling of more touches. Jalen Tyson's auditioning as a $20 million 3-and-D guy. And Cleveland's offense has gone from Ferrari to forklift. Functional, slower, and sometimes clunky, but moving weight. November basketball is for experimentation. May basketball cashes those checks. You got to figure out who you got. Because Garland is about to return. They say he's going to return for the Philadelphia game. We don't have like clear indication on that, but if the reports are out there, we might be seeing our guy Darius Garland return to the team, and that will be a welcome sight. Because this is what the Cleveland Cavaliers look like right now. They're 4-3, which is seventh in the East. Don't worry about that because they're gonna be towards the top of the conference by the time it all ends. They have an offensive rating of 112 points and a defensive rating of 111.7. So they have a very slight positive net rating of 0.3. Now their pace is still 102.0, which is 10th in the league. And yeah, man, it's tough right now. It's tough, but there are some gems. There are some jewels in this time of struggle for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and we're gonna have to talk about them. Our guy Donovan Mitchell is just out here putting up great numbers: 29.5 points per game. His true shooting percentage, 68.8. Mobley is the thing, 19.3 points per game, 8.9 rebounds, and 4.4 assists a game. He doing everything. Our guy Tyson is out here shooting 44% from 3. So they're doing it real big. I like what they're doing. I love seeing it. Kobe Altman has made some changes, and we're about to get into that a little bit. Lonzo Ball is one of the big changes. Last year, their offense was killer, and defense was like, kind of getting it. But this year, with Lonzo there, it's very important to have. They're still shooting a lot of threes, 15.9 made threes a game, 45.4% on attempts per game. Third most in volume in the league. The trade-off is they're 28th in shots within 5 feet. So no paint touches to be called upon. No kick and swing. Mobley's interior anchor. He's the one guy who is being able to get inside in the paint, what have you. Sam Merrill has flashed 17.3 points in limited run. He's shooting 51% from the land of 3. But they're about to pierce the paint a little bit more because their offensive lives are the one pass pull-ups until Garland returns. Guess who's returning? One Darius Garland. And that's going to be the dude who's going to get you in the lane. We're going to have the quickness back. We're going to have that just creative on-ball facilitation that we love out of Darius Garland. And it's just going to make the offensive hum just a lot better. Now, also, keep in mind that as Darius Garland returns, you got Donovan Mitchell just nursing a hamstring injury. He's playing smarter. He understands that he can't just explode to the hoop right now. But they need his points. They need his leadership on the court with Darius Garland not there. Mobley's ascent this year is he took another leap. Yes, it's been incremental, but I hope with Darius Garland coming back, you see a lot of two-man game between those two, and you see even more aggression out of one Evan Mobley. Lonzo Ball has been the piece that I have loved. He hasn't shot the ball very well, but the defense is the point of attack defense that only he can bring because, let's face it, Darius Garland is a really good offensive player. He is not a great defensive player. Donovan Mitchell is handling the bulk of your scoring. So asking him to be the tip of the spear of your defense is probably not the best way to go about this. So having Lonzo Ball on the team, having him be able to go out and guard guards, play just terrific defense, and then get into passing lanes or what have you. Do I care about the shot? Yes. Do I care enough to worry about that shot if Darius Garland is coming back? No. He'll get better throughout the year. And if you're going to have Tyson shoot the ball the way he's shooting it, you're going to be fine. And also, you got Sam Merrill out here shooting 51.4% from three. So I'm not worried about the outside shot. I'm worried about the defense and the sustainable backbone of the two bigs with Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley. You got to have somebody who can guard somebody. So Lonzo playing minutes is probably the best thing for that. Now, they're over the cap. You know, it is what it is. This is what they did. They went all in. And, hey, you just got to go. This is where we are. They're being 26 on offense. To me, I just think that's early season struggles and also not having your full complement of team. I think as Darius Garland gets back and gets more acclimated with the offense, I think you'll see that their offense will definitely go up exponentially. But the defense being number 5, we like that. We like that a lot. And Mitchell is doing too much, but when Garland comes back, some of that usage will be taken away. I think that is where we need to continue also the growth of Mobley. 4.4 assists. He's already an offensive hub. Let it be that. Let him continue to grow his game. I think if he's the number 2 and Darius Garland falls back to the number 3, I think the Cleveland Cavaliers will be better off, personally. Now, you can sit there and say a lot of things, but Wednesday could mark Garland's first game back. The numbers say he's a missing paint brushstroke because of his passing, his pace, and his poise. Mitchell gets to breathe again. Mobley's creation gets context, and Cleveland's shot diet finally looks balanced again. If this was last year in 15-0 sprint, we'd be talking champagne, but this 4-3 start, this is protein. They're getting stronger doing the boring stuff. Let Garland cook back in, and by Christmas time, this is probably a top 16, probably going to be a top 4 team, and everything will be fine. So I don't look at it as regression. I look at it as refinement. I think, hey, get DeAndre Hunter involved. Let him find his role and his spot in this team. You know, you got Darius Garland coming back, so keep your eyes on that. First week back, see what that looks like. Don't worry about the box score. Just worry about how the ball moves and how often Mobley's smiling. That's the story. Because if he's able to get him lob dunks and stuff like that, it's just going to make that dude even more special on the defensive end, which is, again, scary thoughts for all of the Eastern Conference. Because Evan Mobley is becoming Chris Bosh 2.0. And we knew this is what we thought we were getting when he came out. It's just taken a couple years, and now he's there. Now we need him to just stay aggressive. When Darius Garland comes back, I don't want to see, oh, my man averaging 15. No, I want to see my man still averaging close to 20. I want him to push it over 20. I want him to ask for the ball emphatically. These are the type of things I want to see out of my guy, Evan Mobley. So, Denver, oh my God, so tired. Cleveland is going through it. Yes, it's clunky. Yes, it's not exactly what we thought it was going to be. But I think this is a work in progress, and I think it's one of those things that you just allow. You allow the rust, and you allow some of the kind of the unevenness of the way the season has started. You allow that continue to happen, because I think the more and more you have of some of these guys being able to show their worth, the better off they're going to be. And keep in mind, Strus is not back. Darius Garland is about to come back. So this team has not been whole for the entire year. And you don't care whether they're hitting their stride right now. Are they hitting their stride in January? Are they hitting their stride in February? Those are the keys to this run that Cleveland wants to ultimately go on. Because, say what you want, I have picked the Knicks to get to the finals, but Cleveland, their runway to the finals, this is the best chance they have had. And yes, it's not looked good early, but at the end of the day, if you're getting all your pieces back and they're all back by January, this is not going to make a difference. You want to be playing your best basketball after January and see where you end up. Right now, all you're doing is auditioning. All you're doing is you're doing basically just closed auditions, and you're just trying to work out the kinks. It's not a big deal if you lose a couple games here and there right now. You want to be humming on all cylinders when we get to January and February. That's where all the money's made. So I'm cool off Cleveland. I know what we're looking at, and it really comes down to Jared Allen and his toughness during the playoffs. So you can do whatever you want in the regular season until I see Jared Allen put somebody on their ass in the playoffs. I'm not buying it, Cleveland. But I think growth of Mobley and the growth of the others is essential to what they're going to end up needing to be this year and going into the future. So with that being said, I want to thank, again, the audience. You guys have been incredible. The growth of this podcast has really just brought me so much joy. And Soraya, same thing. She loves what you guys are doing, and seeing just the different little pockets of area pop up and really digging the podcast. Again, remember, the blog goes with it, frpc.beam, which is BEAM.LY. That is where you get the blog. That is our website. Please go check it out. It's a good accompany piece to the podcast. With that being said, the best part of you is you. Surround yourself with people who give you light, insight, joy, and accountability. Appreciate them out loud. That's your real wealth. And if you're still trying to find your tribe, know this. You got one here with us at FRPC. Until next time, keep your mind sharp, your heart open, and your circle tight. I'm Vince, and I'm out of here. I'll see y'all on Friday. Deuces.